the shadow of death, and I fear no evil because I'm blind to it all.
Hey, what's up guys? You're watching Wayfinder. My name is Rocky, and today's topic will be if you're not moving forwards in life, if you're not moving forwards in whatever you're doing, you're actually going backwards. You see, this is not like a video game where you can level up to level 5 or level 20 and have certain skill set, and then you can save your progress. In life, there is no such thing as saving your progress, especially in soft stuff, such as like soft skills, knowledge, things of memory. You can save your, let's say the position that you are in your job, you can save your status, but even that, saving your status, there's no such guarantee. Because if you do not constantly work at it in the real world, you're actually going to end up losing it. This is like, you'll lose it by default. The default is apathy. In a video game, you can save your progress level 20, you close it, you can stop playing, you come back, you're level 20. In real life, if you, let's say, turn off your game, or you turn off your life and you stop doing everything, you go into hermit mode, you go somewhere else in the middle of the jungle, you come back to life, your life will no longer be at level 20. You're probably going to be back to level 15. That's the problem with apathy. You have to keep growing. For example, this is the real life examples. When I was younger, and I'm sure when I have a kid, if you're my kid and you're listening to this, now you will know why I let you do chores, why I let you sweep the garden, why I let you do the dishes and all that. This is to teach you a valuable life lesson. In apathy, when you do not consciously move forward, when you don't consciously do productive things, you're not just going to stay in the same spot, you're actually going to go backwards. For example, why do I let you sweep the yard? Because, with life, things live and things die. Things are born and things die. What dies? Leaves from the trees. The leaves, they fall into the ground. So if you do not sweep the garden on a regular basis, what's going to happen to the garden? It's going to be covered with dead leaves. If you do not, if you leave the garden to grow, of course, let's say there are no trees, right, for the leaves to fall, and you do not need to sweep it. What then? If you plant flowers, if you do not do anything, the flowers will die. Why? Because they will be overrun with weeds. So you have to consciously de-weed the garden, take away the weeds for the flowers to grow. And because of apathy, if you don't do nothing, you're actually going backwards because the weeds start to grow. It's just like with the plates. If you do not wash the plates on a daily basis, you're going backwards because the plates will just accumulate, and then you start seeing flies, and then after the flies you start seeing cockroaches, you start seeing rats, and you wonder where the fuck they're coming from. It's just because you didn't do anything. Just like the furniture, you dust things. If you don't do anything, you have to clean your house on a regular basis. If not, dust will fall and everything will get dusty. Your furniture gets dusty, everything. With the car, you have to do routine maintenance. If you just let it go, you don't do anything. Even if you just keep the car in the garage, it's gonna deteriorate either way. So that's the constant thing in life. If you do not move forward, if you do not consciously work on something, or you do not consciously do something constructive or beneficial or good in the positive direction, you're not staying in the same spot, my friend. You're actually going backwards. It's the same thing with memory and muscles. If you do not train the memory, if you do not jog the brain here and there on an occasional basis, you're going to start forgetting things. If you do not train, you're going to start to lose your muscle, and you're going to start to lose your strength. Career-wise, if you don't do anything, or if you just stay and you just do what you're just doing, if you don't do more in your career, you're never going to get promoted. You're probably going to get passed off for promotion, and sometimes, who knows, a person who is more hungry than you, who has more initiative than you, will eventually end up taking your job. If you are a person who's doing a job, it's just like you're a solar panel. If you put a solar panel, and the solar panel is either not absorbing enough sunlight that you need, or he's not even absorbing any sunlight, what the fuck was the solar panel for? Just because it didn't do anything means it's useless. It's just like a chicken who doesn't do anything. It's like a chicken who doesn't lay eggs. What happens to the chicken who doesn't lay eggs, or what happens to the person who doesn't put in the work on a daily basis? He's going to end up dinner somewhere else, or he's just going to get passed off for a job. or he's going to get fired eventually. Same thing also with the mindset. If you do not consciously put in positive things into your head, the world, you just look at Instagram, if you look at TikTok, you look at the articles on the web and everything, the world will slowly pollute it with negative stuff or insecurities, and these insecurities will kind of stimulate you to buy or do stupid things if you do not take control of your mind, if you do not take control of the things that you consume, if you do not feed your mind consciously searching stuff. Because on the thing is like Instagram and everything, you just swipe. You know, like YouTube, you just look at the feed, but you do not consciously. When is the last time you actually searched something consciously, constructively, actually search something? Very rarely. So constructively, consciously put things into your head, otherwise the world will put it in for you. I'm gonna give you an example of this. If you do not grow, if you don't move forward, you're gonna go backwards. You see, when we were younger, and we're going to school, we have our parents, we have our upbringing. Every single day we're learning something new. We're learning maths, we're learning science, we're learning history, and then we level up. We're starting to learn algebra, and then we learn trigonometry, and then we learn calculus, and then boop, we graduate, and then we further specialize into something that we hopefully find interest in, and we further specialize. Therefore, we keep growing. But then what happens when we go beyond the growth and we graduate from university and we get a job? Sometimes in the job, we stop growing. So, you know, when you're younger, there's a clear difference. You can see the clear difference. There's a stark contrast between high school or secondary school students and grade school or primary school students. You will know the difference because one is clearly smarter, one is clearly more confident, the other one is a little bit shy, a little bit goofy, another one is a little bit like less experienced. But then you see, as you grow older and you go into the real world and you start to have a career for yourselves, you will see that 20-something-year-olds are working alongside 30-something-year-olds or even 40 or even 50-something-year-olds. And sometimes you see that it's not the age that matters, you know. Age does not mean that you're mature. As they always say, it's not the years in your life that count. Not the years. You can say, I'm age 42, but you can still be more stupid than a guy who's 24. It's not the age in your life that counts. It's the life that you lived in those years. As Han Solo in Star Wars said, it's not the years, it's the mileage. It's like a car. What is a more experienced car? A car that has lived many more years but stuck in the garage, or a car that has lived only 1 year but has traveled many miles? Of course, the one that has traveled many miles has seen more stuff, has driven on more roads, is more, it's more kind of warmed up to life. And I know this for a fact because when I was working, I was like mid-20s, and I was supervising people who were 10 plus years my senior. I was supervising guys, women who were 10 plus years my senior, and some of them even had kids that were my age or older, and I was supervising them. So really, it's not the years in your life that counts. It's the life in your years. It's the people, the real winners in life, the real champions in life, those who go far are those who have a growth mindset. You know, we're only given 24 hours in a day. How you fit what you do in those 25 hours really determines how far you learn, how smart you are, how fit you are, how much more ready for success you are, and for how much more ready for opportunities you are. When you are younger, like when you're in school or something, outside circumstances determine your fate. It's like your parents are there, your school is there to tell you what to do. So your growth is dependent on them. And then you just say, okay, mom, I'm just gonna go. Okay, take your lunch. Okay. Yeah, did you get an A? Did you get a B? Oh, I failed. You better get an A next time or else you're not gonna get, or I'll get to tell Santa Claus that you're a bad boy. And you're like, okay, mom. That's the thing when you're young. So you have to grow. But then when you go beyond that and you go away from your mama's house, the growth is dependent on you. So what determines who really has it from who doesn't is when you don't need to do it. What do I mean by that? When you don't need to do something, when there's nothing forcing you to do something, do you still show up? Nobody needs to work out. Do you work out? Either way. Nobody needs to study. Nobody needs to upgrade their skills. Do you still study? Do you still upgrade your skills? Nobody tells you to create a YouTube channel. Nobody tells you to try a side income. Do you still do it anyway? You see, this is the outlier mentality. Those who go beyond. While everyone is happy stuck in this like hierarchy and this whole status quo of doing things, you go beyond. This is what lies in the soul of an outlier. The growth mindset. That even if no circumstances force it upon him, he forces it upon himself. Because he has the fire. You gotta remember in life, to have the beauty and the interesting and the wow and the fun, it also comes in a package that you have to face the ugly and the chaotic as well. It's like you can never have the yin if you do not accept the fact that you're gonna get the yang somewhere down the road. For example, if you don't want weeds, then don't get a garden. If you don't want dust or having to clean the dust or having to repair, then don't get a house, don't get a car, don't have any belongings. If you don't want the occasional stress, if you don't want to dedicate time or effort or thinking up things for Valentine's Day or thinking up things for the birthday, or you don't want to remember birthdays or remember special occasions, don't have a wife, don't have a woman, don't have a girlfriend, don't have a family. When you want something, anything in life, it comes with a necessary sacrifice. You cannot have the sun if you're not prepared for the moon. You cannot have the light if you're not prepared to deal with the darkness. And sometimes to get the light, you need to have the darkness. It's just like the seeds. The seeds are planted first in the dark. And then from the dark, that's where it builds its roots. And then when it has a root system, it starts sprouting out into the light. Thereby, in order for it to absorb the light in the first place, it has to go through the dark times. And many times in whatever we do in life, we never really see the sun, we never see the light, we never have that fun before we go through the darkness, before we go through the struggle, before we go through the uncertainty. So of course everybody would want a nice garden, everyone would want a nice house, a nice car, a good wife, good children, if this is mostly whatever, things of value. Things of value are only given and granted to men of value. And men of value are men who can take on more burdens in life, more responsibilities, and they do not fold and they do not complain. Perhaps they don't complain because they're just used to it. They built the habits daily that allow them to, okay, from this time to this time, I'm going to do this. From this time to this time, I'm going to do this. And then they schedule their day in such a way that it's not struggle. They can do many things at the same time. It may be a bit of a sacrifice here and there on several occasions. They may miss a special occasion here, but they will always show up. They will always try to show up to the best of their abilities. That's men of value. So let me end with this. Ask not for a lighter burden. Ask instead for broader shoulders.